Burnout doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it walks in slowly, quietly, like a shadow behind someone you used to know. The emails are still being sent, the meetings are still being attended, the tasks are still being checked off. But something has shifted. That spark is gone. That energy is missing. That emotional presence is fading. This is burnout, and it is one of the most silent killers of productivity, culture, and long-term growth in any business. As a leader, HR professional, or founder, your job isn't just to hire and build teams. Your responsibility is to sustain them, protect their energy, and preserve their engagement. And to do that, you need to see the signs before they become symptoms. That's where facial profiling comes in. In this episode, we'll explore how burnout appears physically and emotionally in the face. We'll break down the facial cues of disengagement, emotional fatigue, and high stress tolerance breaking down. And we'll show you how FOQUS AI allows you to detect these subtle shifts before they become full-blown performance crises. Let's start with the real challenge. Most people who are burning out won't tell you. They don't want to seem weak. They don't want to appear ungrateful. They don't want to lose their position or disappoint you. So they smile, they nod, they keep pushing. But while their words might say, "I'm okay," their face is often saying something else. Emotional exhaustion appears in the eyes first. You may notice less sparkle, less widening of the eyes, less fluid blinking, and more sustained eye strain. These are often signals that cognitive load is high and emotional bandwidth is low. Then come the microtensions in the mouth. Lips held tighter than usual, corners of the mouth slightly turned down in resting state, frozen smile that doesn't fully engage the eyes. These signs often reflect emotional suppression and internal stress. Facial asymmetry can also increase during burnout. The right and left sides of the face begin to behave differently under mental fatigue. This imbalance can reflect the conflict between trying to perform and trying to emotionally survive. The cheeks may seem sunken, the jawline more clenched, the brow more furrowed. The overall impression, disconnection, not from work, but from the joy of working. Now, let's look at how FOQUS AI reads this. By scanning over 50 facial points and comparing them to previous emotional baselines, FOQUS AI can help identify subtle but serious changes in a person's emotional state. Maybe an employee who was once expressive and emotionally engaged now appears neutral in expression. Maybe their eye spacing shows new tension, or their lips show loss of warmth. Maybe their facial confidence score drops without explanation. You now have a way to flag these changes and act on them. Let's pause here and be clear. This isn't surveillance. It's empathy. It's about giving leaders emotional visibility into their teams, not to control, but to support, not to punish, but to protect. Because what most companies call sudden resignations were never sudden. The face saw it coming weeks before the resignation letter was typed. With FOQUS AI, you can use regular check-ins and facial scans, not just to optimize performance, but to monitor emotional well-being. Let's take a real-life example. Product team lead at a growing tech startup had been one of the most productive people on the team. But something changed. Without warning, deadlines started slipping. Meetings were missed. Feedback grew defensive. The company ran a FOQUS scan on the team. The lead's report showed a drop in expression confidence, reduced eye engagement, and increased jawline tension, all indicators of emotional depletion. Instead of calling them out, leadership sat down and checked in. They learned the employee had been carrying unspoken pressure for months, working weekends, sacrificing personal time, and never asking for help. That single conversation not only retained the employee, but restored their energy, motivation, and loyalty. All because someone took the time to read what their face had been trying to say. Now imagine the cost if they hadn't. Hiring a replacement, retraining, losing team trust, breaking the workflow. All avoidable if someone had noticed the face. This is where FOQUS AI becomes a leadership advantage. You can track facial indicators of burnout in real time. You can create dashboards that flag significant changes in facial confidence, emotional engagement, and energy markers. You can empower HR to run wellness checks based on data, not just mood. You can make retention proactive, not reactive. And most importantly, you can create a culture where people feel seen, not just as resources, but as human beings. Let's talk prevention. Once you've identified burnout signals, what do? First, acknowledge. Let the person know you've noticed changes, not in judgment, in care. Sometimes all someone needs is to be asked, "How are you really feeling lately?" Second, rebalance. Adjust workloads. Offer recovery space. Reassign responsibilities temporarily if needed. Burnout often stems from sustained imbalance, not just overwork. Third, recognize. Celebrate small wins. Remind the person of their value. Reignite the emotional connection between them and the purpose behind their work. And finally, protect. Build boundaries. Ensure emotional recovery is treated with the same importance as physical rest. Make check-ins part of your team culture, not just performance reviews. This isn't just about individuals. This is about your entire organization's emotional climate. A team that feels supported performs longer. A leader who spots burnout early saves thousands in turnover and lost productivity. A culture that reads faces builds deeper human trust than any policy or perk ever can. FOQUS AI gives you the ability to lead like this. To catch emotional decline before it becomes emotional damage. To retain top talent by reading what most leaders miss. To make wellness part of your strategic advantage, and it's as simple as scanning a face. If you've never tried FOQUS before, start with yourself. Look at your own emotional patterns. Scan your leadership team, build a baseline, then expand it across your departments. You'll be amazed at what's revealed when you start looking for signs, not just results. Your people are communicating. Even when they're silent, their face holds the message. Now you have the tool to understand it. Visit FOQUSAI.com to get started. If this episode gave you clarity, subscribe now. In the next episode, we'll break down how facial profiling can be used to identify natural leaders before they even speak. Until then, stay human, stay aware, and always lead with emotional intelligence. Because your people are your business, and every face tells the truth.